what's happening, everyone? Pragmatic Addict here. So, a title like this, I didn't know what the fuck this was, but I'll tell you what I did know. This is a new Shudder film, a new film from Shudder. It got a theatrical release near me, and it stars John Lithgow, Geoffrey Rush, and a puppet. Let's talk about the role of Jenny Penn. Recovering from a stroke at an assisted living facility, a judge encounters a psychopathic patient who uses a hand puppet to abuse fellow residents. So I gotta say, as far as this judge getting this stroke, happens right off the bat. And that happens with both a solid performance from Geoffrey Rush, as well as an actually engaging enough courtroom drama. Not just something minimal where it feels like just something, just because of the sake of Geoffrey Rush playing a judge. And with this specific trial at this courtroom, you do get to see just what kind of, not only judge, but also character in general, human, Geoffrey Rush plays. And with that, as well as now his limitations, having a stroke, and now taking place at a retirement home, you do not only have enough, but also a very interesting variety to go forward with. I will say though, the first instance of him at this retirement home, when you get the first nod, I guess, of what type of tone this film may be playing with, it did feel indie experimental horror like the film is, but in the sense where you don't know what kind of vibe their goal is for the film. Things do come off almost humorous, but not enough capitalization linger on these scenes to make that sure. Just enough for you to question not necessarily what's going on, but what the movie is going to try to present. Basically just going to the extent of confusion, being odd. What I liked with Geoffrey Rush is, as the stern judge that we saw him as in the beginning, and now being unexpectedly stuck at this old folks home, you see more of that personality, that bitterness, that old man energy, and it makes you really curious for how that personality is going to go down with him coming from where he comes from once whatever the actual true horror is here comes in. But something I didn't think to mention until he became confined to this home for a bit, which you do see right away when he's having the stroke, are the effects of someone being stroke-ridden. The psychological aspect of that with him both as a judge in a crowded, tense courtroom, as well as being in a retirement home full of elderly patients now with whatever disabilities, it puts you in the shoes of and the sense of that causing someone this. Everything you see is tense, anxiety-inducing already, but again, with his age, his old man energy, which could also be a cause of this, it all just helps to elevate that. Though the pacing is a bit odd as it goes from focusing on this judge to introducing John Lithgow's character, who is named Jenny Penn, as just how, again, indie experimental horror the film is with this as far as what it chooses for this character's introduction. It doesn't introduce him with a huge intro setup, just kind of has you following him for a bit with his puppet, saying and doing some things that just come off confusing and odd that don't have a real effect on us because we don't exactly know what we're following before doing his first actual assault or abuse, which again just kind of happens and isn't anything genuinely terrifying, so you don't know how exactly to feel about it, if it's supposed to come off a bit comedic or disturbing. It just felt like there were things often that could go somewhere, be potential indicators for something more, but weren't capitalized on, ultimately leaving things to just feel a bit odd, random, confusing. A lot of the film did have me just making weird faces of confusion, doing an awkward chuckle, but regardless, as you see more of Lithgow being this unstable patient with this puppet, what he does to these patients, it definitely does become more sinister and less comedic, but still just by certain performances, execution, can still leave you just not feeling fully on board. But to be fair, I still think those scenes are fine, just for the sake of shock. There was enough of those sinister moments that in their own right, as their own moments, are standout enough, and when you're seeing Lithgow's character where he's not being completely abusive, I did really want to know potentially what his background was, his reasons for doing this, how this all started. And as this other character, this judge, who simply just is here to recover and is again just the judge that he is, this does start to become a fun cat and mouse investigative mystery of sorts. And with this kind of cat and mouse mystery investigation format coming in, it does incorporate really interesting turns and raises some really actually thought-provoking questions that played much more into me just wanting to know this character, Jenny Penn, and did now have me mostly starting to actually enjoy the film just as an increasingly sinister unraveling. Though I did just have a few nitpicks regarding what actually takes place, the shit this guy pulls, the setting, where I was like, but how is he actually getting away with this? There are security cameras in homes, right? And I feel like by the end, how it concludes is just a bit weak and anticlimactic for how much potential the film started to have once it became that cat and mouse mystery and all the questions that set up. But I still enjoyed it as an increasingly sinister cat and mouse unraveling throughout and by the end. And overall, I'm going to give The Rule of Jenny Penn a positive review.
You're in my world now, Grandma.
So yes, guys, that does it for my review of The Rule of Jenny Penn. Again, I just had to see this one because it is getting a limited release. It's only playing in a couple theaters in my town. It's a new film from Shudder, and it has John Lithgow, Geoffrey Rush in it. Just something that I was really intrigued by. I know Mickey 17 is out this weekend, so a lot of people will probably be seeing that one. But if you guys do end up seeing this film, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this review. I will see you guys in the next video very soon, and I hope you guys have a great day.